How do we actually go about removing blocks on our awakening journey? Now, this is a topic that I really wanted to cover in this video because it is going to be critical on your awakening journey. Adyashanti in his book, The End of Your World, really talks about how to experience a full awakening, you cannot shy away from anything on your awakening journey in terms of your old patterns, old beliefs, anything or any area of your life that is still unconscious must be, brought to light. And so you are going to have to really face this on your awakening journey, whether you know what those patterns, those blocks are or not. It will eventually be, made known to you somehow, some way on your journey. Sometimes it is reflected back to you through other people, circumstances, or just repetitive thoughts on your own journey that you actually need to really come face to face with in order to really acknowledge it, heal it, and then transform it. Now, this video is going to be really crucial for those curse breakers. So if you're a twin flame, a healer, a light worker, you may be the one carrying that torch in your family that has the responsibility of really, setting your lineage free in terms of really hitting that reset button when it comes to scarcity patterns, patterns of love, finances, whatever that looks like in terms of your lineage. And so you are going to really have to dig deep to figure out those blocks and really transform them. Now, for this video, I'm actually going to walk you through the self-inquiry process and how you can use that towards any block that you may be experiencing. And really, the one that I'm going to focus on in this video is going to be a financial block. If that is what you're experiencing, great. Nevertheless, this method can be used towards anything else that you really want to overcome. Now, I really want to specify here that regardless of what block you may be dealing with, whether it's love, money, career, confidence, it truly is acting just as a mirror to show you that something needs healing. But the actual thing that you're dealing with is not the problem. So for example, if you're dealing with money and there's scarcity of money and you can't attract abundance in your life, the problem is not the money in itself, but rather the subconscious beliefs that are hidden underneath that you really have within your own mind. And, sometimes they're not your own. They've been fed to you through family, through your lineage. And it's really just about catching what those beliefs are so that you can really heal them and transform them. So with that being said, I want to also talk about why affirmations sometimes isn't the best route. Now, if you talk to anybody in terms of, reprogramming your subconscious mind, they will tell you, I am always using affirmations. However, they don't really work for me. There's a lot of people that face resistance with affirmations, whether you're using them daily, multiple times a day, over the course of weeks and months. And I'll explain kind of why. As Bruce Lipton really tells us that 95% of what we are doing is being controlled by our subconscious mind, and truly only 5% is what we are choosing consciously. And this is simply because we have, before the age of 7, already adopted a lot of beliefs that may not be our own. They are in our environment, from society, from our friends. And so really we pick those up and somehow inherit those somewhere along the way and keep moving through life with them. Now, when you are really looking at, healing these blocks, this is a great opportunity to really uncover what's hidden, whether you are aware of it or not. This is a good opportunity to dig deep so that you can identify them and then transform them. Now, the reason why you face a lot of resistance with affirmations and why it doesn't shift your, 3D reality is truly because, you can sit there all day and sometimes multiple times a week just saying to yourself, I am wealthy, I am worthy, I, attract abundance in my life. But the reason why your reality doesn't shift is because there is an underlying subconscious belief that is really running the show. And therefore, no matter how many times you think positively, there is a little voice possibly inside your head that says, that's not true. You only actually have $50 in your bank account or only $500 in your bank account. You possibly still have debt that you need to get rid of. So as much as you are trying to instill a new affirmation, it is kind of being rejected by your subconscious mind because of a stronger belief that you've possibly held on to for decades or even longer than that. Now, this actually brings us to the self-inquiry process. This is actually when you are going to dig deep within your own self to really understand what beliefs you've had and where they possibly come from so that you can actually work towards transforming them. So, for the first step in the self inquiry process, what you really are being asked here to do is grab a pen and paper and really think through about your values, about your beliefs about money. Now, this could be things as simple as money doesn't grow on trees. You only earn money when you are really working hard and exhaust yourself. Rich people that have money actually don't have any values. So, really dig deep to understand what that relationship with money is that you have and start to bring up those beliefs that you've either heard multiple times in your family, through friends, and you have even possibly even caught yourself saying it to other people or have thought of or resonate with when other people say it. So you want to write all of these out. Now, this list may be short or might be extensive, but you want to list as many as you can to really help you dig up how you feel about money and what your relationship has been with money so far. Now, for step number 2 in the self-inquiry process, I want you to trace the origin of these beliefs. Now, whatever that list looks like in step number 1, you may have 2, you may have 5, you may have 7 beliefs that you've been able to kind of write down for yourself. For each one, you want to go back and really think about how long, it has been in your life that you remember having this particular belief about money. Did you get it from your parents? Did you get it from your education system, society, friends, whatever that looks like for you? Possibly your teachers repeated it multiple times and that's where you got it, whatever that looks like for you. And it's okay if you kind of can't trace the origin, but try your best to kind of bring it out. And really what we're doing here is trying to bring as much awareness as we can to your beliefs about money so that we can, shine a light on them, understand that they aren't even possibly yours or how easily they, crept up into your subconscious mind and really have been sitting there and creating that resistance that you are having a challenge with today as you are trying to really attract in more possibly wealth or whatever else that block is for you. So really get clear on, the beliefs and then the tracing the origin in step number 2. Now, for step number 3, you actually want to write out the new beliefs that you actually want to instill in your subconscious mind. Take a look at what you've really drafted through in step number 1 and take a look at how you want to transform those beliefs. Do you really even believe those beliefs that you actually have, written out? Is that really true? And if not, what is the new belief that you would actually really like to have in this point in time? I'll give you an example. If you can't think of it for yourself, you can go to people like Bob Proctor, who give us affirmations that we can use. For example, the famous one from Bob Proctor is money flows to me effortlessly. And that is something that you can write out. So write down as many new beliefs that you would like to have in relation to your block. If it is finance, and attracting abundance of wealth, then those are the beliefs that you want to write down in relation to that block. And once you have done that, really take a look at those beliefs and say, are these complete for me? Because in the next step, you're actually going to work towards really instilling those in your subconscious mind. Last but not least is your step number 4, where you actually begin to reprogram your subconscious mind. And for this, I highly recommend the Bruce Lipton method. I will link a couple of videos from Bruce Lipton in the description box in case you've never heard of him or have never come across his work. But truly, I particularly like his recommendation for reprogramming your subconscious mind because, one, it is proven, has been, done multiple times over the years, and also is backed by research, which he shares with us in his videos. Now, he also recommends and tells us that, we have now seen, and research backs this up, that you can actually heal your body and the sicknesses and illnesses that you may be going through simply by reprogramming your subconscious mind. But unfortunately, this is not something we do because it's not something that really gets taught to us, or we are not informed on this practice. So nevertheless, looking at your blocks, this is definitely something you can use for any of your blocks and you should be able to see success with this more so than affirmations, absolutely. Now, is it something that happens overnight? Probably not. You may have to repeat it multiple times, even a couple of weeks, but just monitor your progress accordingly. But truly, what the Bruce Lipton method is telling us is to do is simply, possibly at this point in time, it's so easy to do than before. You're not recording using tapes, but all you have to do is download an app or some software on your phone that will allow you to voice record affirmations that you can actually play overnight. So using those steps that you came out with in step number 3, where you listed your new beliefs, you want to be able to record those for yourself and then just, hit replay overnight and just listen to them over and over while you are sleeping. So this will really help to, instill new beliefs in your subconscious mind. Now, in case you're wondering, okay, so Bruce Lipton doesn't really tell us to follow step 1 and 2, so why are we doing that? And my answer to that is the more aware you are of what your old beliefs were and you can bring light to those, the easier it will be for you to transform them. It is much harder to reprogram your mind when you aren't even really aware of what your current and old beliefs have been. So it is definitely recommended that you follow step 1 and 2 to bring light to those unconscious patterns and, beliefs that you may have had so that you can transform them accordingly and do that reprogramming from that point of view. Now, the last thing that I want to say here about this process and reprogramming method is that as you are going through the phase of reprogramming, however many days, weeks it takes you to do this process, you want to ensure that while you are, fully awake and making conscious choices about how you're living your day-to-day, you are not slipping back into using the language that you might have been for your old beliefs prior to this reprogramming phase. Now, it really doesn't help if your new reprogramming kind of looks like I am, attracting money effortlessly. And at the same time, during the day, you are using language such as money doesn't grow on trees, whether that's towards your children or just however you are using that. So become very aware of the language you are choosing, the thoughts you are having as you consciously move throughout your day so that you are in sync with the reprogramming that is taking place overnight. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this was helpful. God bless.